Oh, here we go. No, that was a false start. I'm gonna, because I edit these. I edit out the pre-show stuff. So we're gonna redo this. Hold on. No one will ever know. Nobody. Except for you and me. And whoever else is looking. But, that's okay. No, now I think we're gonna get something going. There it is. Oh my goodness. Hello, welcome to the Gaming Workshop. There it is, the Gaming Workshop. Yes, everybody, hello. It is great to be here. I'm glad that you guys could join me today. 30,000 here today. Are you talking about the people? I think you're talking about the people. We got 30,000 views. Hey, if we do that, I'm gonna end up having to do, if I happen to get that many people, I'm gonna do a bikini hot tub show. 100%. I'll hop in my bikini, we'll hop in the hot tub, talk about gaming. Yeah, I know you guys are looking forward to that. Hey, I've already said, if I get like a certain number of subscriptions or viewers or whatever, we haven't come to what the actual number is, but I'm gonna be doing the body painting thing. Hopefully Twitch hasn't completely banned everybody from doing that, because I'll get some doilies, man. We'll get it going. Yes, I love this, man. It's good to be back, even if it is for 1 or 2 weeks. Again, sorry guys that, the show has been on hiatus for a little while. Again, if you don't know, it's just been medical issues for me that we're working through. That's why I've got the neck gaiter thing going on today. It just is what it is, As long as I can talk, I can still do the show. I guess we'll be all right. You know how it is. Oh, boy, that was not a very good fade. I am winging just about everything today. Because, again, I wasn't planning on doing this again until the end of July. And since I was feeling okay, I was like, it's killing me not to do this. So I just kind of threw all this together after, and everything. Now, I've had a lot of stuff going on. We're going to get into the show now. I've had a lot of stuff going on lately that's been very aggravating. It's not just, the health, not just the health stuff, but there's also, just a lot of just general stress and frustration in my life. I talked about it a while ago on a personal stream. And a lot of times I think that we go through things. A lot of people can take things in stride. I certainly can. I've had many hits from life, and I've learned to roll with the punches and that sort of thing. But as as these things happen, sometimes they'll happen relentlessly, one after another. Sometimes life will just crap on you all at once. And it's never easy, right? But what happens, if or when, we're not paying attention and life dumps a lot of stuff on us, man. And it's like, we're taking it in stride, but what's happening is it's building up on us, right? And it happens to us in our psyche and whatnot. And we may not even notice it, at the time as it's happening. And then suddenly, you might find yourself being a little more snippy or a little, have like a little attitude, or, it's just because no matter how hard we try to bottle these things up, inevitably, and I would be willing to say, almost everybody this would happen to, you overflow. It backs up. It becomes too much, and that's why it's good to talk about your problems. Sometimes, people are like, oh, it doesn't help. But yeah, well, in ways you may not see, it does help, because it's like a pressure release valve. You get all like, and it's like, shh, gotta let some of that steam out so you don't blow. Now, what's up, Sensor? So now the way that let me pull my chat over a little better. I'd rather look at my chat than me. But anyway, there we go. What's up, guys? But this all relates to our gaming lives as well, because we, especially when we're playing DayZ. Now, if anybody doesn't know, I don't know why you would know, but if you don't know, DayZ is an horror survival sandbox open world game that we play on the DayZ Underground server, which is dayzunderground.com. And, it's a really stressful game. All right, I'll just put it to you that way. For people who haven't been really familiar with it, because the idea is it's like I said, it's a horror survival game, so you're trying to survive, and depending on what kind of character you're playing or what kind of play style you're using, Some people put a lot of themselves into the game that they're playing. Okay. And some people don't. It just depends again on how you want to play. For us, though, for role players and people who really invest a lot of ourselves into the game, a lot of times the things that happen and that the things that we experience, that our characters experience, a lot of times, it weighs on us, just like real life difficulties do. And as I've talked to people and as I've experienced this myself, we're going to talk a little bit about me today. But what I've noticed is that there are a lot of people, relatively a lot of people, who are experiencing these same types of frustrations. And we like to call it burnout sometimes. Like if you put too much of yourself into something over too great a time period, then it just becomes overwhelming. And it gets to be where, like, it's hard to separate yourself from it. Like, for instance, if you wanted to take a break, you might feel a lot of anxiety about, missing out. And that defeats the purpose of the break, right? Because now you're super anxious over not being able to play. It's a vicious cycle that we put ourselves through. And every once in a while, I feel like it is probably good for us as individuals, not, and even as a community, to face these kinds of things, because like I said, it happens, and a lot of times it's like a slow burn. It's like the analogy people love to use in politics. If you put a frog in boiling water, you put it in water right away that's boiling, it's going to freak out. But if you put it in like cool water and turn the heat on and it gradually heats up, the frog won't notice that, and eventually will just cook and not even realize it because of the way their body temperature is regulated. This is how stress and pressure and all of that affects us, in our psyches and whatnot. So now, normally it's true. I mean, this is the gaming workshop, and this show is specifically has become about DayZ Underground. And so normally I like to focus all of the conversation on DayZ Underground and our players and how we interact with each other. And I'm usually, it's always, or usually, a very positive conversation. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about me. And the reason why I'm going to focus on me is because I'm going to be a little critical. And it's something, again, that I think a lot of us all feel at one time or another. But I don't want to single anybody out. It's easy enough for me to point at myself because I do it as well. I've experienced all of this in the last few weeks. A lot of frustration, a lot of burnout, a lot of anxiety, and yes, even ill feelings towards some fellow players. I mean, it's embarrassing to admit that, but it's true. And a lot of us go through this. So we're going to end up talking about all of this. But first, Censor says, yeah, I played for a year straight from COVID, right? Got super burned out and got angry at events from the game. And that also made me mad in real life, affecting my day. See, now this is the funny thing, right? Like it was kind of short notice that I decided to have this episode, right? But I didn't really have a lot of people coming and saying, hey, yeah, I want to be a guest on this episode. Because it's a tough thing to talk about. We're talking about our feelings and our emotions and a lot of times things that are happening to us that we're not cognizant of. It's just something that's happening and we're reacting to it. Just like, what Censor's talking about. But a lot of people are going through this. I mean, if you look, I probably should have had all this prepared too. But if you look we have on the DayZ Underground Discord, we now have a community meeting section where people can suggest things that they want to talk about in upcoming episode or upcoming community meetings. And what floored me, okay, is like I had planned to do this episode like mid of last week, right? But Dr. Desync post, I'm not going to read what it's very well stated. And it coincides perfectly with what we're talking about today. But what he wanted to talk about was, well, actually, we will talk about all this, so I might as well read it. I'll get to that in a minute. But the thing that really floored me by this, right, is he's talking about burnout. And he's talking about, not being able to let go, let the game go for a while, just to work on yourself. 49 thumbs up, man. That's an exceptional number of people. And this was yesterday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so it's not even been 24 hours yet. And it's already 50 now. It just went up as I'm talking about it. 50 people. So you can't tell me that this isn't an important issue, that it's not an issue that we're all facing at one point or another. I mean, that's ridiculous. 50 people want to talk about this. So, or want it talked about, want it addressed, want you to know about it, that it's going on. And the main reason I feel that it is important to talk about this is so that you know that you're not alone. You know, that's one of the main things when we go through things. When I go through things, remember, I'm going to reference myself through all this. When I go through things that are emotionally stressful and difficult and all of that, yeah, granted, it's good to talk about it and all of that, but it's helpful to know that I'm not alone, because that's really the first thing I come to, especially having had a lot of confidence issues growing up and in my teens and 20s. The first thing that I think of nowadays when something's going wrong, I'm feeling really bad or everything else, it's like it all falls on my shoulders to me. It's all me. I must have done this. This must all be me. And then when you feel that way, that's when you start to feel alone, because it's like, well, crap, if it's all me, or if everybody's, you know, having this problem with me, or then it's easy to single yourself out. And I'm here to tell you right now that you're not alone. Sensor even has already, you know, mentioned it. I mean, he went through this playing at home with COVID, you know, all the time. And it's like, it's like I said, it's kind of an insidious thing that we bring upon ourselves. And we don't realize that it's happening. So I don't really know, like, I'm not a psychologist, right? I don't have any good advice for noticing when things happen, but I will tell you this, that if you are comfortable with yourself and you know yourself and you're paying attention to yourself, then maybe it won't be so difficult to be able to recognize when you are acting abnormally for you. You know what I mean? Like, if you're suddenly getting really moody and you find that you're lashing out more, like when you're sitting here playing on Discord and you're typing something and you send it and you're like, wow, that was a little harsh, you know, and it's not like something that you would normally say. This might be a warning sign that, you know, there's something underlying, that it's probably not the thing that you just typed out that's irritating you. It's probably something else, something deeper underlying in the back of your mind that you're not really recognizing or confronting. And sometimes it is what you're typing. I mean, sometimes it is the conversation, but you know, when you're like, wow, why am I reacting this way? You know, when you're asking yourself questions like that, which is very good to do, by the way, you know, there's probably something a little deeper. And so you gotta take it upon yourself to try to figure it out. Now, I can tell you when I had my infection in my neck and it was real bad. I mean, we're talking literally the size of a baseball knot in my throat. I mean, it was super painful. It was really demoralizing in many ways. Okay. And we're going to get to some of this stuff too. I mean, Desync has really hit this on the head, but in a game like DayZ, oh, thank you so much. In a day, thank you. I don't have, you know, as you can see, oh, well, actually I put my alerts underneath here. Let me move this up. There we go. All right. Next one will show above the gaming workshop. Anyway, yeah, so, oh crap, where was I? Oh, my face is getting really red. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's super hot down here today. And now wearing this is not helpful. I'm going to show you. Oh, thank you so much, man. It's subscriptions coming. These are, I've got this cool little cooler here, right? And it's like a little, it's a breath of fresh air. And it works really well when it's right on you. The funny thing is, I know this is off topic real quick, but it's kind of funny. Turn this off for a second. This thing is so silly. And it was given to us by my mom. I can't really pull it out too well, but what it is, it's got an ice tray, right? And you stick the ice tray in here, and then you turn it on, and what it does is it blows a fan onto the ice. So it actually conditions the air to cool it off. And it does not work very well. It works okay. It's best if I have it like old ghetto boombox. Yeah, baby. But no. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm just dying here today. But anyway, back to the point. When we're playing DayZ. Gosh, thank you for the subscription, man. When we're playing DayZ, right? There's this sense of urgency all the time because things are happening all the time. We'll get into this a little deeper in a minute. But things are happening all the time when you're on and when you're not. Oh no, is somebody raiding me? You know, finding my stashes? Is somebody grabbing the nails and the crapper that I should be able to, you know, if I was in right now. just all of this other little, I hate using this term, but micro anxieties, you know, these little things that just pile up on us. And it gives us this feeling that we have to constantly be in game. And that is a legitimate feeling, right? I mean, this isn't like just something, oh, well, I'm just feeling it. No, it's a legitimate need to be in here because of all these things that happen, okay? That's part of the excitement, actually, you know, for me anyway, of playing DayZ, and especially on DayZ Underground. The problem with that is, though, is that it's just a game, right? And a lot of times we have our own anxieties and our own, you know, issues that we're dealing with. And then we've got, here's our entertainment, right? That's what we play DayZ for. It's our entertainment. And now our entertainment is adding to all those anxieties because we can't be on or we're not on. And that's what we're thinking about now. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it becomes really overwhelming. It just does. Let's see, Censor. He says depression can also be very hard thing for players as well. Yeah, because you can alter your play style and how you act, which sucks. Yes, I agree. And I personally had that affect me at the 3,000 hours mark. I'm actually a little over 2,000 now. I'm getting there. The main thing I wanted to say is that we're all people with lives behind the screen, working, family, relationships, etc. Could cause burnouts and other reactions. Yes, see, exactly right. Man, thank you for coming on, dude. If you want to talk, you're always welcome to hop into Discord, man, and I'll throw you in the live channel, dude. Because you're really vibing. We're vibing, dude. I mean, you're hitting everything. DayZ is my most favorite game, but has turned out to be a game I hate the most. But love it, yes. It's the game you love to hate. And it really is. And again, because there are other MMOs, multi-massive online player games, you know, I've played. And, you know, it's weird. It's a little different in those, you know, because mostly it's not a lot of player versus player. You're not really having to worry about somebody coming and ruining you when you're not even there. Usually a lot of the stress in these, hey, what's up, Manatee? A lot of these stressful situations in other games come from, you know, like trying to be the best or trying to like get the best gear. You got to go on the raid. You got to be like, you know, super good at the raid so people will let you in so that you might get your random drop at some weird loot that's going to be obsolete in the next update. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a lot of the pressure that you get in normal MMOs. In DayZ, and especially a persistent world DayZ, like DayZ Underground, I mean, the pressure is just constant. And it's not about being the best and having the best stuff and all this. It's just that, like, for me, again, talking about myself, you know, the main character that I play, the Reverend Alessandro, you know, he has a goal, he has a mission, he has a story, and it's his goal to try to help rebuild things, right? That's his thing. And try to spread hope to people. And he does that by creating a point of interest or a place where people can find him so that he can interact with them, you know, and we have good role player stories or fighting or whatever it is that we do. And for me, okay, now this is what I was going through, right? I was talking about how I had the massive infection in my throat. And it got to the point to where I didn't even want to come downstairs and get on the computer. Like, even just standing here for like 5 minutes, I wanted to sit down or go lay down because it was causing so much stress on my body that I just didn't want to do anything. And so, and now I'm going to tell you the story, okay? This is how it went down. You know, I had my aid station or whatever in Mogilovka, which is a town pretty far down south. And I was originally planning to have Alessandro make a secondary church up north. And, you know, it's kind of the mega church principle. And so he had been going around trying to find a place to build a second church and do all this other stuff. Well, when this hit, Alessandro was not in Mogilovka. He was up north in Severograd. And so for a couple of days, I couldn't log in or go to Mogilovka to check on anything. And so I was feeling a lot of anxiety over that because I was like, crap, you know, I spent, you know, almost a month building the place up. And it's like, anytime that I'm not there for a few days, you know, invariably somebody comes by and sabotages things and all that. And I'm like, well, it's not a big deal. So this one particular day, I decided that I was like, well, I need to go to Mogilovka because people steal my flags all the time. And if I don't go refresh everything, it's going to despawn. I can't just not be there for 2 weeks. I mean, come on. I guess maybe 21 days for some of it. But anyway, so I'm like, screw it. So I hop in game. Dude, what's up, Recluse? Man, it's good to see you, man. Thank you. So man, I'm still kicking, dude. I'm still kicking. Like I said, I'm covering up the scab on my throat just so that it doesn't upset anybody. You know, it's being respectful. But I'm actually in better shape than it looks at the moment. We'll see. Fingers crossed it stays that way. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to take Alessandro down to Moggy, and 10 minutes into my journey, KOS, lights out, you are dead. Oh, I was so pissed. Like, you guys know, right? I'm not a big fan of random KOS, okay? I'm just not. But I take it in stride. You know, I'm very good at first I've got an initial reaction, and then I just kind of disperse it and I go on with my day, because it's like there's no point in being too upset about it. You can't do anything about it. But this particular day, because I was feeling so bad, I was super stressed out about my stupid endgame world, super stressed out about how I was feeling like in real life and the medical stuff going on, that I literally was like, I'm done with this. I was ready to rage quit. Me. I was like, fuck this, man. Are you kidding me? God, man, I'm so sick of this. I mean, it was a very irrational reaction, especially for me, that I had, okay? Fortunately, I had friends online. I was able to talk to a couple of people, and they talked me off the ledge, because, you know, I knew I had to reach out, okay? Because, again, I knew that this was not an appropriate reaction for me, and it's not the way I would normally react anyway. And so I had to reach out. I had friends who talked to me, helped me put things into perspective a little bit. And then I realized, you know what? I'm just letting the stresses of this game and my personal life and just everything is just getting to me. So what did I do? I mean, I didn't just walk away from the game, because, again, the stresses that were there, okay, that I allowed to affect me were still there and still needed to be dealt with. So I was like, fine. So I went to Mogileevka, you know, and everything was okay. It was a couple of tents despawned. I was like, yeah, I figured, you know, that happens all the time. And so I log out, right? And now I'm good again, okay? I'm like, all right, I'm in a good place. It's like, okay, I'm here. You know, I can check on the place every couple of days. If there's any problems, whatever. Well, sure enough, I log in the next day. Someone's stolen the lock on my watchtower gate. I'm like, okay, well, that's not a big deal. 4 dials haven't been a big problem for me this wipe. It's not a big deal, you know, whatever. And then come to find out a couple of days later. Now, meanwhile, I'm dealing with this massive, ridiculous thing on my throat, and none of the antibiotics are working, you know, so I'm getting more stressed out from this. I'm not sleeping but 20 minutes a day. You know, I'm really putting myself through the ringer here. So basically, long story short, I actually had somebody who was dismantling my watchtowers. And by the way, guys, look, if you're new to the server, okay, I understand you have a lot of questions. It's smart to ask questions. But understand that when you're doing something antagonistic to somebody and then you're in Discord asking questions about how to do it, it doesn't take much to put two and two together. Now, fortunately, I'm very good at separating out of character and in character and all that. And I don't hold grudges like that. Not everybody does. So I'm just kind of suggesting that maybe not advertise, not let, or how does raiding work here, you know, be your first thing, or why can't I dismantle this watchtower up against this church here, you know. I'm just saying, you know, just use a little discretion maybe, you know. But it was kind of funny, man, reading about this, and I'm just like, And I go outside, and sure enough, you know, like my whole top level of my watchtower has been disassembled. It's hilarious now. It was not so much at the time, because, again, I was going through all these real life stresses. And at this point, I think it was right actually before this. You know what? When I realized, I don't recommend everybody have to do this kind of thing, right? But I have a pretty decent relationship with our admins and other members of our community and things. And it's like, I don't want people to be surprised if all of a sudden, you know, I'm like really snippy. Because, again, I recognize that I'm not being myself. So I did. I wrote an admin, and I was like, look, man, this is what I'm going through right now. This is what's going on. And I'm going to try my best to, you know, recognize when things are getting a little crazy in my mind and, you know, try to help keep things together. But just in case I don't be blindsided by this. You know, this is what's going on. And I'll tell you right now, it certainly wouldn't have equated to any special treatment. I want everybody to understand that. My whole point in doing that was just to keep people from being surprised. Like, oh my God, what the hell's going on with the Reverend Alessandro? Why is he being such a jerk? No, there was no need for that. People can be like, oh, well, here, we'll just mute him or ban him for a little while until he gets himself together. I don't know. I was falling apart. Okay. And I finally got to where, I was just like, all right, screw it. I'm not going to worry about any of the end game stuff because my personal life and health, is way more important, and everybody will agree with that. And that's pretty much what happened. All right. I finally, through a process of talking it out with people and all of this, I worked all of this out within myself and was able to come up with solutions that made me feel more comfortable. Again, we're going to get to that in a little bit as well, because that's going to be more of how do we deal with out of character situations that affect our in character lives. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. And that's pretty much why, because I did make some in character decisions based on my out of character situations, and it happens. And sometimes we need to do that, especially if it comes down to our own personal health or, mental or spiritual well-being. Such and such. You also have to realize, yeah, he did this too. Oh, did you? Everything is gone in the end causes, see, that's it. Everything is gone in the end because of wipes. And that's why you don't get too mad about dying or any of that. No, dude, no, you're good. Oh yeah, you're welcome to come in, man. If you want, it'd be easier because you've really got a lot to add to this. So, and I mean, that's exactly right, by the way. This is why it is ridiculous to get all hung up on the things that we have in this game. Because no matter what, it's gonna be gone because of wipes. So the real thing, this is why you'll see me pushing a lot for role play and for stories, because these are the only things that really last in this game. That's it. It's the stories. Now, granted, personal relationships, all that kind of stuff. But it's true. The stories are the only thing that will survive a wipe. And we will have wipes. So, it's a little easier if you take that, into consideration when you start to panic and freak out like I did just a few weeks ago. Ooh, excuse me. I haven't done this in a while, guys. So it's like, I've been playing now, and actually I've been playing way too much. And in fact, that's kind of why I'm a little out of it today, because I was up way too late last night. But there's a big difference. This is performing, and I'm, passionate and all that. And by the way, let me tell you, because sometimes people will take things that I say a little too personally. I just want you to know that I am a passionate person, right? When I feel strongly about something, I put passion behind it. But it's also a different thing because I'm a performer and I'm in front of a microphone. I've got lights and cameras on me. When that happens, I enter performer mode and I get very animated and I project my voice. And I acknowledge that sometimes, if I make a statement and I'm doing it really animated, it might sound like, I'm being very pushy in it. And that's not really my intention. I love to have discussions. I'm quick, it's not hard for me. Let me get Sensor hooked up here. It's not hard for me to sound more passionate than perhaps I really am about a subject, so I don't want anybody to take it wrong. If you hop into the waiting room, Sensor, I'll move you up into live and we'll see how you sound, and we should be good to go. Sensor's going to be joining us. It's awesome. People don't ask about the groups that didn't tell stories. Amen, Recluse. That is absolutely right. I still see people asking about firekeepers, guardians, and such. Storytelling really is how you leave your mark on Doug. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's actually funny because I ran into somebody last night who was familiar with the firekeepers firsthand, and it was pretty awesome. I don't want to get into that, but it was fun interacting with somebody from back in the day because I got to, and it was funny, I name dropped some things that weren't exactly comfortable because Alessandro wouldn't know, and it just kind of I don't know, I think it kind of made for a fun little role play encounter. I miss Toronto. So many stories. Yes, indeed. Toronto is he's a very good storyteller. Put it that way. All right, Sensor. Let me make sure that I might be on. Oh wait, I'm not even here. There we go. It works better when I'm in here. And no, sorry guys. You can talk, Sensor. I gotta set up my.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Alright, so it does work.
Yes.
Nothing much, just my day off.
hear you very well too. Well, that's good, man. It's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Give me just a second. Yeah, man, it's funny.
I'm not watching. I'm just always at work.
Nice. Let's see. Here, let's see. Voice activity. I have to be on push to talk right now. There we go. Now you probably hear me live or quicker.
Yeah, because I was watching the stream to be able to respond.
There you go. There you go. Oh, excuse me. Well, welcome to the show, Centra. Thanks for coming in, man. It sounds like you have a lot of experience with the kind of things I'm talking about today.
Yeah, I got quite a lot. It's just I've been on Doug for a year now, last month, so been through a lot.
That's awesome, actually. Yeah, about 8 months here, but you know, it's getting there. I think that let me ask you this: when you were going through some of this stuff, right? Was it something that you were cognizant of at the time, or was it something that was kind of creeping up on you? And when did you notice that you were feeling burned out, that it was affecting you?
So I've been playing DayZ right now. I'm looking at my Steam, 3,500 hours, at least 2,000 on Doug, and about August-ish of last year, it was just getting to me, and I ended up taking like a 2-month break. In this January of this year, I also took a break because like there was just a lot happening, and I worked like 40 hours a week, and I was just getting agitated at work, and then I just stopped playing. My mood got so much better, so it was just affecting me IRL mainly of like events that were happening.
No, you're just talking about like just people coming and just doing whatever people do.
Yeah,
and it was just becoming overwhelming. And like you're saying, you didn't really notice it at first, right? It was just kind of affecting you, and it was like, when it was it like you noticed that you were having a harder time?
I mean, it was just a hard time logging in too. Like when things were happening, like I would be ready to log in, and then I would end up like watching Twitch or something. I was like, just not doing what I wanted to do originally. Just play.
That's interesting, dude. Because I went through that also, and still do to some extent, not nearly as bad as within the last month. But I would come in here and I would load everything up, and I would just sit here and stare at my screen. And I'm not really looking at anything in particular. I'm just procrastinating logging in. But again, I didn't realize that's what I was doing at first, And I'd be like, oh, I kind of want to play this other game or do this other thing, And then it's like, when you start to do it, I'm like, maybe not. And then it's just like, and the next thing you know, you're exhibiting all these signs of depression that you didn't even know that you were exhibiting.
Yeah. And then it was like happening in my own life. Like I was starting to lose friends and stuff. And I'm like, and I don't know if it was caused from the game or just like something else in my life. Like I didn't really realize, but then also just stepping away for a little bit. Like last August, I did that, and my mood just really got way better. Like I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And here I am today, playing like how I used to.
Well, it's wonderful. I'm glad that you're back. And that you've got yourself together a little bit better, and that you're enjoying it more. You're also aware of what you went through before, and with any hopes, if that sort of thing started to creep up on you again, hopefully you would be able to recognize it quicker, and maybe take more positive steps.
A lot of people would say I didn't ever leave, but like I would stay talking to people like over TeamSpeak or Discord. But there was a time where I didn't get in game for like a month and a half or something like that, like around that time, like a week, and then take a week off, take a week on. But like August, I didn't play for like a month and a half.
That's rough, dude. Because it feels like too, when you're going through that a month and a half is kind of a lifetime. Online anyway, not let alone in a game where things are constantly happening.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like, you feel like you've lost everything if you're gone for like a week. It could be the worst feeling in the world. But again, like I caution people, when you notice that you're feeling that way, it is time to take a pause, take a beat and look at yourself and try to figure out why it is that you're feeling this way. If you're feeling like overly anxious about the things that are happening in game, then yeah, it might be in your best interest to take a step back. Just let that stuff go. Because remember, again, as you pointed out, and as Scorpion really hit home with me a long time ago, mentioning the same thing, that everything is temporary. There are going to be wipes no matter what. And when that happens, it's all gone, so it doesn't really matter. But now there are other things that do matter and that do linger and are also preventable. And I kind of feel like it's something that we deal with all the time as well, and may not even notice it. And it's kind of the little bit of toxicity that we get.
Yeah, I remember I had a really good friend of mine that I met on Doug, and
Mm-hmm.
about toxicity, me and him got into like a really bad argument
Mm-hmm.
a while ago, and we just don't speak anymore. And like it really hit me because like I was playing with this person like every day nonstop for months, and I got upset and like waking up, we were going to sleep. I was like, dang, I don't really speak to this person that much anymore because like someone I talk to all the time.
I'm really glad you came on today, by the way.
I was
Because,
like,
yeah,
hey,
you're like, it was a perfect day. Yeah, because it just hit your day off, and it just happens to be one of those subjects where you're just like really in tune with it. Yeah, man, because I've gone through that myself, actually, which is really surprising to me when it happened. Because, obviously I'm not going to get into too many details, but it's just a difference of opinion that I had with somebody out of character. And the difference of opinion was strong enough to where it really affected my ability to play at certain, in certain circumstances. Okay. Now, this was totally selfish, right? For both of us. Our opinions were very much centered on ourselves. Okay. And, when things changed, okay, I was okay with it. I was like, all right, fine. This makes sense. I know it's hard when I'm not being specific, but I was like, okay, this situation makes sense. I'm okay with that. But that wasn't good enough. Okay. The complaints continued. The pushing for more change continued. And to me, it felt almost personal. And even though I know it wasn't, right? It's because we were friends or we knew each other. And I finally lost it. I was like, dude, look, like if you don't drop this, man, I don't even want to deal with you anymore. And now here's the difference though, okay? Because for me, it was like, it felt personal and I felt really bad about it. And by the way, dude, I forgive you. I know, and you may not even need it, and that's fine. I need to forgive you, and I do. I don't want to harbor any resentment or ill will towards my fellow players or my friends or any of that, because that's just more things that pile on. And actually, unfortunately, this one actually tends to affect the community as well. Because as I mentioned, you can damage real friendships that are brewing within the community this way. And then once you have that divide between people, you're invariably going to have friends who are often on both sides who are caught in the middle, or you have friends who will take sides, furthering the divide in the community. And none of this is healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the other person. It's not healthy for the community or the server, So this is why, these are icky subjects, but this is why I felt like it was kind of important to bring them up, especially going through it myself, realizing, that I'm doing this myself, and knowing that I'm not alone. Again, that's paramount. I'm not alone. Most of us go through this at one time or another.
yeah, when this is around like when I took the break in like December, like a week or two. Uh, in my previous group, we got rated really hard. Like we didn't have anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then like our group was just really dead at the time. Like not much to do because like we literally lost everything, and it was in the beginning of a wipe, and we knew in character of a place that had stuff we could use to get back on our feet. And that person who I lost a friendship with, me and him really had a really bad argument of why we shouldn't hit, why I thought we should hit that person and why he thought we should hit that person. And then like also I was like stressed out from work and everything, and I just lost it because he said like one little thing that like ticked me off, and then I ended up having to leave that group because I was so mad about it
That's
and not
harsh,
taking the
man.
break.
That's harsh. And it happens though, and it's funny because it's the kind of thing again that is usually not about whatever it is. There's usually a lot of extra stuff. We're pretty resilient folks, human beings. It's like we can be very resilient, and it's usually not this little thing or this little thing or this one disagreement or this here. It's usually this added to this multiplied by this. Oh my god. And the next thing you know, you're losing it. The personally, I find it to be very difficult. Like once you realize it, okay, then you have a choice that you can make. You can either continue on and ignore it, which sometimes we do. I did for a little bit. I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to be pissed about this. And I chose to be pissed about it. And then I finally realized that I wasn't getting anywhere being pissed about it. It wasn't going to change anything. It wasn't going to make things the way they were or make anything better. And I had to let it go, you know, because it's just like there's nothing else you can do except for just to harbor ill will and resentment. And who the hell wants that? You're not going to have any fun if that's what you're doing. So a lot of times it comes down to being the bigger person, so to speak, you know, and just being willing to just let things go. It's like, you know what, I'm not going to fight with you anymore. I'm not going to harbor this ill will or resentment or carry it with me because it's weighing me down and I don't need it anymore. You know, and again, it all comes down to recognizing how you feel and that the way you're feeling is not normal for you or not the way you want to feel. And then trying to make a conscious decision to change it. These are all very difficult things, by the way. I'm saying them like it's easy, but I know it's not, okay? Again, this is why I wanted to talk about it, why I wanted everybody to know that you're not alone and that, I mean, hell, man, if you have a problem, you could always come and talk to me. I am very discreet. I don't talk to anybody about anybody else's problems. Kind of like Alessandro in a way, but I mean, it's true because I'm not here to cause problems. I'm here to bring us all together better and help us all play together and get along together and enjoy our time together better. So that's, you know, the crux of bringing all this up. You know, sometimes also, I know I'm going to hit all of these topics in like the first hour. Sometimes it feels to me like when you have a situation, okay, in this game and dealing with other people or whether it's in character or out of character, and you decide, okay, well, look, I realize there's a problem and I got to do something about it. Okay, the question is what? You know, now we go to great strides to promote organic role play. I know I'm using air quotes a lot. Organic role play is actually a thing, but it's a term. Okay. And we try to keep everything in character. Or at least I try to promote that. And I think most of us try to promote keeping in character, and out of character. But sometimes, you know, it's like with me in my situation where I was feeling very overwhelmed. I was ill and I had a lot of stress and in-game stress. All of it was collapsing on me. And you know, I had to do some thinking and it was like, you know, I don't want to stop playing. All right. And that's it. And by the way, guys, let me tell you, if I stopped playing, chances are I would still continue to work for the community because I love that. And I love the community more actually than I enjoy playing the game. Believe it or not. It's just a fact. And so anyway, you know, I didn't want to quit playing. But I had to look back at how I had been playing. Like, what is it about my play style that's causing me all this extra stress? For me, it wasn't too hard to figure out because for the 8 months that I have been in this game, I have essentially been a solo player, which, by the way, I think most veterans will acknowledge amps up the difficulty quite a bit because, and I'm learning this. Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
I said, oh yeah.
Yeah. It does, right? I've mentioned this before. I'm glad that I started out as a solo player. I'm also glad that I recognized how difficult it is and that I didn't let that defeat me. Because it took all of those things together for me to really appreciate how difficult Doug can be. And in that difficulty, you know, is where we find most of our joy because, I mean, hell, we're all here for a hardcore server, whether or not we're here for roleplay or PvP or whatever else. I think the hardcore aspect and how similar it can be towards the original game is what keeps a lot of people here, despite your playstyle. So you can't let the difficulty of the game overwhelm you. All right. That's what I allowed to happen to me because here I am now. I did have groups, right? I lived in Old Town and we were a loose group of people. We weren't like an actual group, but you know, I had people that I could vent to and unload to. And unfortunately, when a lot of people in a group, and I'm not singling out Old Town at all, but when a lot of people in a group are all kind of mad, you know, around the same times, you find out that what you're doing is you're just bouncing different levels of toxicity off of each other. And then it's, you know, literally, well, not literally, but it's like adding fuel to the fire, you know? And so where you go to relax and calm down, you end up in a nonstop complaint session. And yes, I've seen this in other groups that I've been in with Discord and whatnot. So, you know, it's not any one particular group. But the point is that when you're solo, you don't really have a lot of these outlets. First of all, you don't have anybody watching your back. So if like you build something up and someone comes around and destroys it, it's on you to fix it. And sometimes that can take hours. And if you only have like 3 hours in your play day, right? And you wanted to hop in, you wanted to like cook up some food and throw it in some tents so that some people could survive, and then you sit down and chat with them for a little while, whatever. If that's what you wanted to do today, and you log in and you find out all your freaking oven's gone, your tents are gone, you know, and it's like, now I got to build all this up. Guess what? It could take you 2 hours to do that. And then there goes all your playtime. And that just adds more frustration and resentment, you know, to trying to play, because you're not actually being able to play the way you want. And it's frustrating, right? When I went back and looked at all of this, you know, I realized that maybe it was time I joined a group. Maybe it was time, you know, I hung out with other people, and that way we could work together, you know, and when bad things happen, we could work together to fix it, you know, and you don't feel so all alone. And again, I think that makes a world of difference. And I know that solo play versus group play, they're completely different dynamics. I love playing solo. I have a hard time right now integrating with group play just because I'm not used to it. But I have immediately seen the differences for myself. Like I've my stress level in game is reduced significantly. I feel like, you know, if we had a wipe tomorrow, I would not even be stressed out about the wipe. And you know, the people that I normally associate with or play with are not the kind of people that enjoy wipes most of the time. But I feel like, you know, because every wipe I dread it. I do, because it's like, I'm not going to be able to play the way I want for a few days or a week or now, you know, now I got to play the, you know, whatever. You know how it is. I mean, it's just a different mindset. And the next wipe, I'm not dreading as much now, because I know that, you know, I'll be with a group of people and that we'll all be in it together, and that, you know, we'll work together, and we'll, you know, it just feels like it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, and also it's very hard for solos on a wipe, because you're going to have groups of like 10, 20 people going out and trying to get guns, get the storage, sea chest barrels, nails, and that's just like, maybe you're out looting and you run into like 5 to 10 people also doing the same thing, and they just kill you, and you just lost everything. You don't have a base set up yet.
Yeah.
That was really hard for a lot of people that I know.
Yeah. Oh man, that was impossible for me. Like, God, as like somebody who wants to really promote roleplay, and I mean, I feel like a wipe's just any other day. Oh, we had a bad hurricane that destroyed the town. Guess what? We're still here. We're still the same people. I mean, let's just act like it. But it's not. It's really kind of a way. I've come to accept wipe as a way for people who are usually uptight and very specific in the way they play to be able to just unwind and unleash and just go nuts.
Yeah, another reason why I think playing in a group is very good is because, like, I work a lot. I'm also leaving for Army basic training in like a few months. I'm gonna be gone for like 5 months.
Wow, that's awesome.
And like, I don't have to worry because I'm gonna have a group doing everything that needs to be done, and I can just come back and get right back in the swing of things. Or if I have work, I don't have to worry about being raided and not having anybody to defend.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I agree with that. Let's see here. Toxic Texan says both solo and group play both definitely have pros and cons, but solo is definitely more of a grind. It is, you know, I was thinking back, right, in before I started looking into groups and all that. And, you know, I was talking earlier about, you know, how bad off I was trying to get to Mowgli. I wanted to quit. I had like a really hard time. It occurred to me that had I been in a group, it wouldn't have mattered if I needed to take a few days off or a week off or even 2 weeks off, because there would have been people there to help, you know. Now maybe things would have gone to crap anyway, you know, but that would have happened whether or not I was there or not, you know, but at least then I would have had the peace of mind is what it is. It's peace of mind to know that, you know, it's like, oh, everything's not going to just fall apart simply because I can't log in. And, you know, it's funny. I wish that that there was a way that we could really regulate that within our, you know, within the community, but you can't because of the nature of the game. It's like I say 100 times, events transpire in game faster than I could ever create content for. I can never keep up with the writing or anything, videos, anything with as much stuff that happens. And I think part of it is accepting that, because that's going to happen no matter if you're a content creator or if you're just a player or, whatever it is that you're doing. People have to go to work, for instance. Most of us have to go to work. You have to bring in an income to keep the lights on, to keep the internet on so that you can continue to play. Because you can't do it without any of that stuff, right? And so there are times you have to step away. I mean, so it's unfortunate that this is the nature of the game that we're playing. But I feel like once people come to terms with that and are willing to accept that, it will significantly reduce your anxiety level. We've been talking a lot about contested territories and things. And now we're talking about possibly having the admins watch heat maps to show like where you're patrolling in your area. These kinds of things are these micro things that build up on us, I believe, because it's more pressure being added that we have to go out and we have to be in game and we have to be walking these territories, and it's not the admin's fault, by the way. It's actually people are debating it, but it is a solution, to a territory issue. But then again, it's like if you find yourself in a territory dispute with somebody, and like I would prefer it to have rules and be laid out. I actually have some ideas, but I don't want to get into that. But I feel like if you are in a conflict with another group, then for as long as that conflict is going on, you're going to feel pressured to be there. Because you want to be there for your boys, or for your friends, and for your group. But, you just have to be able to make that decision, that determination to realize that, your real life is more important. Your well-being, mental, spiritual, physical, is all very important. And by the way, when I say spiritual, you guys know I have faith, but at the same time, not everybody does. Fine, call it mental if you want. It's still a real thing, but you still have to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to be a basket case, and you're going to breathe toxicity into the community, and people are going to be pretty unhappy overall. And you're adding to it, unfortunately, as opposed to trying to make things a little better, and you may not even notice it. So, I usually feel like if somebody feels bad about something that's going on, I always suggest looking at yourself first. Why do you feel bad? If somebody was to walk around and say something that I found offensive to me, I can be mad at that person, okay? But here's the fact. I cannot control that person, okay? So there's nothing that I can do to make them not say mean things to me. But I can control myself. And so I have the option of deciding that I'm not going to let that person have power over me by saying these negative things to me. They can say whatever they want. I can choose whether or not it's going to affect me. And now, I'm at a point in my life to where I can see things this way. Now, I'm not saying that I'm very good at it. I mean, I'm working on it, like pretty regularly for myself. But I do feel a whole lot better overall when people say things, and I'm just like, whatever, dude. And I just blow it off. I don't let it affect me, and I don't think about it hours later, and I'm not like, what the hell, It's so much better when you can learn to let things go, especially things you can't control like that, like other people. And I kind of feel like it's related to this issue because it's not only things that people say, it's things that people do. And in real life, the things that people do can have a real impact, as well as the things they say. I admit it can be impactful. But, there's a difference between somebody walking up to me in real life and punching me in the face as opposed to somebody walking up to me in a video game and beating me to death with a sledgehammer. Very different things, So I feel if we could try to keep things in proportion, to how impactful they truly are in our real lives, which is the important thing. I mean, again, we play games to kind of make our real lives, a little easier, or a distraction or just to have fun or whatever it is. But it's not our real life. And it's, unfortunate when people really kind of absorb everything that happens in a game and makes it a part of them. Yeah, we got some other stuff, and this is actually good. Okay, I'll read this because we were. I was trying not to get into the big base building thing. I was going to talk about that originally, but this kind of seemed more important. But let's see, we've got August Child saying, "I wonder if given factions a mini or starter base would help alleviate the issues after each wipe." Kind of, dude. I'll address that just because of the sense that, you know, I'm the kind of person to where I kind of want to be able to spawn in with like specific PID that could be downgraded to where it's not a game breaking thing, because it's like, you know, when our characters look alike, okay? And the main thing that differentiates us, aside from perhaps our voices and mannerisms, is our appearance. And so when I die, it's like one of the worst things for me is trying to just look like myself again, try to become myself again and get over the death. But at the same time, we've talked about this before, where it's like, where PvP, you know, focused players, their gears, their guns, and their armor, and you know, this is like the stuff that's really important to them. Well, for role players, you know, it's like, you know, for me, having a Bible and, you know, not dressing like a crackhead is important to my character. It kind of diminishes some of the fun of looting and finding things and all of that if you're given things in the beginning. And it also detracts from the hardcore aspect of the server and this whole thing. So it's like, I understand where you're coming from with that, but I really wouldn't even think of that as something that is likely to ever happen. Then Ignatius is saying the contest rules pretty much force you to constantly be in the area. And the community definitely has the attitude that if you're not spending all your time there, you shouldn't be pushing the story. That's why OOC communication is important. Sitting in a town because the community expects you there is not a fun experience. Absolutely. That's something that I ran into trying to run POIs. And I actually like the idea of having a POI so people would know where to come and find my character. But guess what? That week that I was like not in town and barely playing, when I come back, I hear people have been looking for me. I see people leaving notes. I see people doing all these things, and it makes me feel bad. Honestly, as a player, it makes me feel bad because, you know, here I am, you know, I've made this commitment to create this area in game that people can come and roleplay, and they expect to find my character. And then I'm not able to be there, or I'm choosing not to, because guess what? I don't want to sit in the same place all damn day. I want to be able to go out and do things. And, you know, it makes me feel bad. This is why, just for the record, this is why I finally said, no, I'm letting go of the map. I don't want to be on the map right now because I have to come to terms with this for myself. And I haven't done that yet. So I still feel responsible for other people's good time when they show up at a place that I'm like, hey, come here and there'll be something here. And there's not. It's just more extra pressure added to me. But as a group with a territory, it is the same thing. People, as we've said, people are expecting you to be there so that they can interact with you. That's more pressure, by the way. It adds to all of the anxiety that we feel, the micro anxieties that add up. You know, but at least in a group, you got several people who can do that sort of thing. I mean, I watch a group running around right now, and they're like, we gotta go on patrol, you know, and it's like, it's fun, you know, and it's cool. But when it's every single day, all the time, every day, this is what you're doing, it gets old. I think it gets old and it drags you down. It makes me not want to log in sometimes, you know. But I agree that OOC communication is really important. You guys, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna take a real quick break. I'll be right back. Feel free to chat, Censor. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on.
I'm actually going to get a drink, so I'll be back as well.
Hmm. Hey, what's going on? It hasn't been silence, right? I always feel bad when I have to take a break, but come on, man. This is like, it's a lot of work sometimes. So how's everybody doing? Seems the room is pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was at getting a drink as well.
Yeah, it's all good. Um, so I feel like we've touched a lot of the stuff pretty well. I wish I had more solutions, but I feel like a lot of these problems are very personal. They're personalized problems for us that we all experience, but it's still different for each of us. And it really comes down a lot to knowing yourself and paying attention to yourself, how you feel, how you're acting, and how I mean, there really shouldn't be a time, I don't think, when you sit down and you're like, oh, I want to go play DayZ. And you go in and you sit down and then you start mulling over it. And the next thing you know, you're just like staring at your screen, You said that you've experienced that as well. You just didn't even want to log in. And these are just warning signs to me. These are things that should be red flags to make you go, wait a minute, there's something's just not right, and give you an opportunity to think about it. But one of the solutions that I think is pretty universal that we all mostly agree on is out of character communication. Now, I'll say for me, out of character communication is kind of a double edged sword. Because look, man, I don't think anybody would be surprised if I was to say, I might be just a little opinionated. I just might be. I might have a few opinions, and I'm not afraid to express them, And sometimes I take the proper amount of time to think it through before I say it. And sometimes it hits me and I just say it. And then sometimes it'll come out wrong and sometimes it won't. And I'm always leery about expressing myself OOC, especially in small group settings, because, I don't want people to dislike me. You know what I mean? It's like, here, I'm a streamer. Obviously, I want to be liked to some degree. But at the same time, it's like I'm not going to not be myself, and I'm not going to pretend to be someone else to make other people happy. That's just not what I do anymore. Way too many years of that. So, I worry that when people get to know me, that they're going to be like, gosh, this guy really is kind of opinionated. He's kind of an asshole. I kind of don't even want to hang out with this guy anymore. And then it can cause more problems in character. And it's like with the game that I really enjoy. And so it's like, I don't want, I'm anxious. It adds more anxiety. Fortunately, I usually find groups of people that don't react that way. And in fact, I find that most of the time, these concerns and whatnot are just issues within my own head, with my own confidence and all of that. But there's also other times that, guess what? I might not be the most annoying person in the room. I know it believe it or not, it can happen. And then that's the other issue, and it's like, well, gosh, man, I really like playing with this person, but man, I can't stand to freaking talk to them. It's like, it's all they want to do is chit chat or whatever it is. And it's like, man, but the thing of it is like, you really do have to be willing to embrace OOC discussions to some degree. Again, it's easier if you're in a group. All right. I know a few people who completely avoid any OOC, contact with just regular people, but are still tuned into what their group is doing. So if people are in their group are talking OOC, they're still getting, that information disseminated to them. So they're not completely segregated from the real life, aspect of the game, but they're still able to maintain that comfortable level of immersion, that they're after. And I'm all for any of that, by the way, the things that make people enjoy the game more and enjoy their time here more. And because that just helps the community. Let's see what Proxy's saying. OOC comms are definitely necessary. Yes. And I will say that since the community meeting, the clowns have had several situations where after they have been said and done, they have come into OOC comms and discussed the situation. And I got to say, it worked out well, clarifying things that may have been up for confusion on why it happened, and agreed it's a double-edged sword. So people are definitely starting to do the whole OOC comms thing. And that does uplift my spirit a good bit. Because, I talk to all kinds of people. I mean, it's not just my character. My character and I are ridiculously more similar than I ever imagined or ever set out for it to be. It's just something I've noticed, and it's funny. But I do. People will talk to me, and I'll listen to them. And the reason why most of you don't know that is because I do hold confidences very well, and there's all that. But it's funny because it really seems like a lot of us have a lot of the same kinds of issues, and a lot of it has to do with the way we interact with each other, or whether or not we interact with each other at all out of character. This is why I kind of think that at some point out of character discussions are absolutely necessary. I mean, first of all, there are so many examples that we could use. I mean, if you're getting hit constantly by 3 different groups, how are they to know that you're getting constantly dumped on if you're not talking about it, and these are things that build up and make us angry and all that. If, there's something that somebody does, if one character betrays another in character, all right, you might take that because you've been playing with this person for so long, or maybe you know them out of character. You might take that as a personal insult when it's just characters being characters, And I mean, sometimes we do jerky things and we hide behind our characters for it. That happens. But for the most part, I mean, if we were ever friends to begin with, we should be able to talk about these things after. I don't know how many people know this. I think I mentioned it, but you guys know I held an in-character event, a sermon with my character down in Mowgli. And shortly thereafter, after it ended, there was a firefight that broke out and my character was killed and respawned on the coast and all that. And it was just DayZ, right? Or Doug even. So after everything was said and done, like after I had logged out for the night, shut down my computer, I went upstairs, I pulled out my phone. I loaded up Discord. I knew who the group was that attacked us. And I immediately contacted... Oh, God. I really do need a moderator in here. Oh, crap, dude. Y'all are not even going to stop. Oh, sorry, guys. There's a lot of them right now. Anyway, so I contacted the leader of the group. And the first thing that I said was, thank you for waiting until after to start the conflict, because really that was my biggest concern, was that I wouldn't even get through the event. And then I was like, it was so much fun. And even though my character died, I think I was the only one who died, maybe, or at least not of the attackers, but it actually, I found a way for that death to emphasize a point my character was making in character. And so I turned it into a positive thing for my character and for myself. But the point is that I did not want them to think that there were any hard feelings, and I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was cool with it, and that out of character, I was promoting that this was a really cool and fun thing, because it could have gone a whole different way. I could have been bitter and angry, like, damn it, man, why are you ruining my event, and all this other stuff. But I mean, that flies in the face of what we're doing here in the first place, to have that kind of an attitude, things happen. People should be antagonistic with each other in character, but out of character, we should be able to come back afterwards and be like, hey, look, man, that was a really good play, good game, GG's, whatever. Just be a good sport. I mean, because there's absolutely nothing to gain from being resentful and hateful to each other. It's not going to make anybody behave any better. I can tell you that right now. All it's going to do is make everybody feel worse. And that's not what we're about. Shouldn't be anyway. Hey, what's up, Orion? I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Thanks, Jersey. Well, you were actually... I ran into you after all that when I came back. Or Alessandro ran into your character. And that was actually one of the things that helped me. I mean, I knew, I was okay with the whole thing in the first place. I wasn't upset about it. But it was fun having that little bit of role play afterwards. Really helped it sink in why it was such a good thing at the time to have happened. And in character, and even then, I would never have been mad at these guys for that. Never would have been mad at them. But sometimes we do let things get to us. And again, if we don't talk, we don't communicate. And even talking to your friends is not often good enough, as I demonstrated earlier. Because if your friends are mad and you're mad, then nobody's calming each other down. You're just building on each other's anger. And you get a lot of resentment that holds. Now, here's the thing. Okay, and this is what the main reason I wanted to bring this up. is because when we tend to allow our personal relationships, I know that you'll back this up, Sensor. When we allow our personal relationships to become damaged by the things that happen in a video game, it affects everybody around. Like I said, you know, it creates divides. Friends often have to pick sides and all this other stuff. And all of this can be avoided. All of this, when it happens, it only hurts the community. And it only hurts you because most of the time, let me clue you in on a little something, by the way, everybody, in case you weren't aware of this. Most of the time when you're mad at somebody or you're upset with somebody or whatever, a lot of times they don't even know, let alone care, right? So you could be mad as hell at somebody and they not know or care, and then you really are only hurting yourself at that point. Because if they don't even care, then what difference does it make, you know, if you're mad? To them, they don't care.
Yep.
I mean, it's you know, it's just one of those things, man. You just got to try to think of. Now, we're talking about talking to people out of character, right? And try to hash out our differences and that sort of thing so that we can get along. The tricky thing with this, and I've mentioned this in Discord before, the tricky thing about this is if the other party doesn't care, or if they don't want to talk to you, or if they don't want to talk about it, right? Well, what do you do then? I mean, what do you think you do? Because if you don't have, you know, it's like, oh, I want to work this out. They don't want to talk about it. Do you still just be angry and resentful? And you just be like, well, fuck them, man. They don't want to talk to me. You know, they don't want to work this out. Well, fine. Screw them then, right? I don't think that's very healthy or productive for you either, honestly. I think that's when it's time to be the bigger person and just let it go. Easier said than done, sure. I have to do it. I do it in my real life all the time. I mean, it's a part of my faith. I'm supposed to love everybody, okay? And I say it that way. I love everybody. I do. I don't have to like everybody, but there's a limit, you know? Like if I dislike somebody, I think that's perfectly fine and healthy. But if I'm exhibiting that, then I'm not being fine and healthy because I'm, you know, spreading that negativity to other people who are watching. I mean, there's almost always somebody watching, you know? That's why I like, you know, Discord is kind of, we got a love-hate relationship with Discord, but I feel like Discord is still kind of important because it's a place where a lot of people go. And there are way more people that never talk in Discord but read it than there are people that talk in Discord. So you'll always see, like I always try to, you know, if you want to discuss something, I think it's great to bring it up because for one, it gets it off your chest. Two, it helps speak for people who aren't speaking for themselves. But it's just as important to regulate your reactions to other people because of the fact that other people are watching like all the time and they're learning from it and they're taking things in. If they see community members at each other's throats in a negative way, then they're going to assume, especially if they're new, that this is the culture of the community. And then either it's going to turn them off if they're against that sort of thing, or it's going to make them think that it's okay to act that way because, you know, hey, this is what I'm seeing all the time. You know, it's why it's a really tricky thing to have disagreements and be able to do it in a civilized way, you know, without resorting to name calling or, you know, even, I mean, I do it, dude. I admit it 100%. There are times when I'll say something and I might even delete it because it's just like, you know, this is really not the way I want to represent myself. This is not the way I want to represent my opinion. It's not the way I want to represent this community. And, you know, I have second thoughts. I'm glad we can go back and delete our own posts. I mean, the moderators can see it, but I don't, you know, I've never been afraid of anything that I've said. It's just that I might retract it because, again, it's not the way I want our server to be. And as I think it's become ad nauseum now, but it's so true that if you have to be the change that you want, you can't just sit here and scream at the world and expect it to listen to you. I mean, you've got to start with yourself. And so that's the approach that I try to take in dealing with a lot of these situations, a lot of the things that the game throws on us, a lot of the things we throw on ourselves. You know, to me, it all starts with me. I could not care about any of this. I could legitimately not care. The servers could burn down tomorrow. I could miss it. Yeah, I miss playing with you guys. I mean, but I could walk away tomorrow. Well, ideally, I should be able to just walk away tomorrow, let everything despawn, let it, whatever, and not give it another thought, not let it drag me down personally. I'm not very good at that. I admit it. I put a lot of myself into this, just like a lot of you guys do, and it becomes a very passionate thing. So, I have to, but it's all on me. I guess is the point. It's not, Doug. It's not the admins. It's not the other players. When it comes down to that, it all comes down to me and how I'm going to choose to react to the things that are happening, And again, I think it's important that we stay in tune with ourselves and that we recognize, I've said it like 4 times now, we have to recognize when we're acting or feeling differently than we normally would or in a way that we're comfortable with, And then once you notice that, take ownership of the fact that you feel that way and that there's probably something you can do to alleviate that. No matter what it is, whether it's taking a break or whether it's just coming to terms with it, brushing it off, there's something that you can do to help alleviate it. And you stand far better a chance of addressing the issue within yourself than trying to change other people.
I actually have to step away for a little bit. If you're still alive in a little while, I'll hop back in. Just got to deal with some stuff.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Everybody else have a great day.
Thanks for stopping in, dude.
Yep, have a good one.
And I apologize, guys, if I'm running off at the mouth. I know I am. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks since I've done this, so I've had a lot to build up, man. I've been thinking about this stuff for like 2.5 weeks now, and it's like, But let's see. Honestly, that's the thing I do. I'll write out a diatribe, look at it, and then delete it intentionally. Oh, see, now that's a good solution as well. Sometimes I don't always, I've done this before, but I don't always like intend to delete it. But fortunately, most of the time I do. Excuse me. Because, I'm like, I'm going to show this some bitch. I'm going to mess him up good. And they're just words. And then I go back and I read it, And the best thing to do is to sit on it for a day. All right, look, I'm going to go ahead and do this, okay? Here's a public service announcement. Discord sucks. I'm just going to say it. It sucks. I know that a lot of people love Discord. But as a platform where you're trying to discuss anything meaningful, it really sucks. And it's because of the fact that like we can just throw out our thoughts on a whim, This is like Twitter, tweeting and all that crap. It's not the most healthy way to have a conversation. I've even said this before, it's even in the name. Discord. Why didn't they call it discourse? Because that's really what they're talking about, right? Is communicating, discourse. But Discord is a negative term. It may have other meanings. I actually didn't bother looking it up today before I brought this up. But to me, Discord has always been a negative thing. It's an animosity between people. We have, that may not be the technical definition, but it's the way I've always perceived it. And guess what? It's aptly named, man. Because if you have a disagreement with somebody and you guys start going at it, it fuels everything, man. And it's fantastic and awful all at the same time. I know that it's becoming like a catch-all communication platform, which is great. It's actually become a little more complicated than it used to be. So people trying to say that it's easier than TeamSpeak is not exactly true. But, it just depends on how you look at it. But this was actually a special request mention, public service announcement that I happen to agree with. We're never going to get away from Discord. I mean, it's practically like Windows these days or Amazon or something, it's becoming a part of gaming culture, or has been for a while. But what I like to caution people against is arguing and debating in Discord, because you're going to miss tone of voice. You're going to miss context. You're going to, and when you get mad at somebody in Discord, for me, when I get mad at somebody in Discord, it's very easy for me to get just tunnel vision and focus on just that one thing that's pissed me off, because there it is on the freaking screen, and I'm looking at it 20 times. And I'm like, I'm going to just show this some bitch. I'm going to get it to him, and that's just not, it's not healthy. It's just not. So, and also it's all just super quick, man. People just run off at the mouth a lot of times and don't stop and censor themselves or think about, maybe the thing I'm going to say is maybe not the way I really want to express myself. So I'm always a bigger fan of either straight up voice communication, because at least then you get tone of voice. Like there are things that, I'm in Discord over the last few days. What's up, Sergeant Sammy? I'm in Discord, over the last few days, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about all these different things that I want to say on these different topics that people are talking about. And I stopped myself because I realized that, for one, I'm doing the gaming workshop this week, and I'm going to be able to talk about these things. But I'm afraid that, if I'm sitting here typing, a very personal sentiment, that you may not get the proper context, because like if you watch me, you can see my body language and I'm animated. You can hear my voice and see that I'm not angry about the things I'm talking about, even though I sound passionate, right? But in the words choices that I make in the heat of the moment, or when I'm trying to make a point real fast before other people can get in there, got to be first. The things that I'm saying may not come across the way that I intended. And that's why I apologize from the outset if I seem a little too passionate, especially when I'm on a microphone. Again, I'm a performer, I project, I animate, all of that. But this is the reason. It's not just a hate for Discord. I mean, I find Discord to be very viable for a great number of things. But really, I don't like it personally, and a lot of other people don't really care for it when it comes to trying to have deep, meaningful debate, because it's just too easy. It's easy to even miss a comment, especially if the thing's just scrolling by super fast. People show up like 20 minutes late, have something else they want to say. And this happens to me a lot. The conversation has died down, right? There's a lot of excited emotions and whatnot. And I'm sitting here reading, I log in, it's like 50 plus messages. I click on it and there it is. Bam, there's the subject. And I'm like, what? I have an opinion on this. Hey, this is how I feel. And then I scroll down about 20, 30 minutes later. It's been resolved. People are talking about other things. And here's my asshole comment. Excuse my language. This is my comment here. Starting it all up again. And I never meant to do that. Discord, it's not the ideal platform for this sort of thing. Sorry. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see. Right? August Child? I was like, what the hell? Do you think private Discords that many groups have are overall positive for Doug, or no? Man, look at some of these answers. Yes and no. Exactly right. I agree. I do think that there are pros and cons to it. I think that it is healthy. I've been in a few Discords now, and I've seen a few of the behind the scenes things. Granted, I'm still not officially in a group, right? But I've seen how it can be beneficial, and I've experienced how it can not be. And I think that it all comes down to just having your own cliques and groups and whatnot. If you are expressing opinions and beliefs into a wind tunnel, where people that are just mirroring everything back at you, I don't feel like it's a positive thing, because you're not progressing anywhere. If anything, you're adding fuel to the fire. It's not really, settling anything. Now, I do feel better when I vent and I talk to people. But again, if people are just validating negative emotions that I'm expressing, trying to vent, then it sends them right back to me. And I don't feel like that's a very positive thing. I also have the issue of, I'm really torn. I mean, obviously we have in-game or out-of-game communications, and we're going to use that. That's here to stay. There's no changing that. That is what it is. I still am not a big fan of it personally, because of there's the fine line of in character and out of character. I do like how groups within themselves tend to have their own rules about it. And I like that, because people have different levels of comfortability with these sorts of things. That's why I mentioned earlier today on Discord that I don't even feel like organic roleplay has a great definition. We have one on the website, and that is the definition that I go by. It's the definition that everyone should go by. But people still look at it differently. Some people will not plan anything out at all. Some people will plan things out a little bit, and some people will try to plan things out and just roll with the punches. The word organic can mean virtually anything, and I don't even feel like the word organic is quite right when you've got people on one hand saying, oh, well, roleplay is optional then, and you got another hand saying, no, it's not optional, it's just not planned out. this is what I meant when I said that, there's a conflict in what the definition or how we apply the definitions of these terms are. So I like it in this regard because we all have different levels of comfortability. We all have a lot of different play styles that we bring together. And I find that, I know this has been a really long answer, but I find that personal discords for groups are good for that. Because then you can have your own level of comfortability within the group, and you're not having to affect the whole of Doug by trying to make a bunch of rules or, do, these arbitrary things that aren't going to really affect people. If anything, it'll just drive people deeper underground to do the things they want to do. But I do like their, I don't know, man. I like also, there's a difference between Discord and TeamSpeak that I like. I do like that Discord has an easier text option. I don't always like to talk to people when I'm playing. And in fact, that's something that I'm learning to deal with right now because I am in TeamSpeak all the time. I'm sure a lot of people who have never seen me there before have noticed in the last couple of weeks that I'm all in TeamSpeak all the time, or at least when I'm playing. The problem with that is that, again, I've been a solo player for a really long time, and I don't even think that really has much bearing on it because really this game is a tactile game. You have to be able to listen to the things that are going on around you. Otherwise, you get a shovel shoved up, your bum. So, so it's like hearing people constantly talking in my ear it's giving me a bit of a headache and it's getting on my nerves a bit because here I am running around trying to do things and I'm constantly looking around because I'm nervous and tense because that's what this game is. But, it's aggravating to me because I want to be able to get to know people and talk to people and all of that. So but I don't want it to become what I'm doing what I'm listening to all the time because I want to be immersed in the game as well. And I find sometimes if you can just send like a little text message or whatever, or like even if you're doing alerts like, oh, there's, some trouble over here. Sometimes it's easier or quicker for me or more immersive to just type in a quick little message, and Discord makes that kind of thing easier. There we go. That's pretty much it. My goodness, man. All right, let me catch up on some of what you guys are saying. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of the Discord stuff is always a hot topic. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. We got someone saying for the social aspect, yes, but also it can manifest toxicity. Yes, that's what we were talking about with the wind tunnel thing, especially. You got people throwing stuff right back at you. You're not growing. You're just hearing the same thing over and over. Yeah, I'll get to that in just a minute, Urbo. Yeah, so you guys are pretty much agreeing. It's like basically it's like your homework group chat in school. You get kids passing homework in, but then sometimes you crap talk the other kids who aren't in the group. Dude, yeah, look, man, I'm not in any kids' Discords, but I do have 2 kids. And, yeah, or not even Discord, even, whatever it is, little group text messages that they're in. And it's true, man. Kids are always, and I don't even limit this to kids, man, because people are like this, man. People will trash talk people behind their backs all the time. And it really sucks when it's it's one thing if you're hanging out in a group and you're in real life or whatever, and you're just talking, because it's like Discord. It's like you say it and then it vanishes off into the ether eventually, it's like there's no written record of it. There's nothing, that hangs around that's lasting. And in Discord and text messages and all that, yeah, man, this stuff hangs around and people, it's like, might be venting and you just say something about something. You're like, God, that guy's really annoying, but you vent it, you get it off your chest and you can go back to being friends. Well, now here is a written record of it and somebody sees that and now they get to be resentful towards you for feeling that way. And all you were trying to do is vent it, and not harbor this resentment. And now this other person is feeling that way. I mean, it's rough. It's rough trying to socialize these days. It was easier back in the old days, you just get mad at each other, go out to the schoolyard, duke it out, your friends later. I mean, whatever. No, Urbo, real quick. Yeah, I have a lipoma, which is just a fatty tissue. It's benign, whatever, in my neck. And I've had it there for a really long time. Most people didn't even notice it, apparently, which is really cool. I was very self-conscious about it. But it wasn't causing me any problems. Well, I decided I was going to have surgery on it, and we haven't even gotten there yet. Again, I talked about it on the not the gaming workshop, but on my regular stream like a couple of weeks ago. And then it's like it got all this attention, and it's like I really pissed it off. And it became really infected. And I basically had what looked like a baseball size lump in my throat. Like, not even kidding. I mean, it was huge and painful and causing me all kinds of misery. And the reason why I'm wearing this around my neck today is because it looks a hell of a lot better than it did. But there's still a scab, and it's like I want to be, it doesn't bother me, but I want to, be cool for people that it may bother. So, yeah, that's why I'm wearing this. And I again, for everybody to know, the reason why you're not seeing a lot of gaming workshops right now, I have a surgery scheduled for July 13th right now. I've got a pre-op on the 8th. And since all of this happened, they're going to have to look at it and evaluate it and make sure we still want to do the surgery and all that. But if we do, I'm going to have surgery probably July 13th. It's probably going to have me out for another couple of weeks. So, yeah, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that and that I'm actually okay. It's not, a life-threatening thing at the moment, but I mean, you don't know. I mean, right now it's like because of the infection, it, swelled up and everything. And I think that because it's not, the lipoma is not attached to anything, that it's kind of moving around now. And personally, that makes me nervous because you don't want some foreign thing pushing up against, like, say, your artery, or if it lodges itself up against my esophagus and then it's like causes trouble swallowing. There are a lot of things that could happen, but I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just saying that, I'm going to have it taken care of, and it's going to slow me down a little bit, but it's not going to stop me. We're going to be right back at this. So Manatee says, I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership involved. Yes, sir. Weak leadership leads to toxicity in the echo chambers, but strong leadership will shut that shit down, or at least keep it at arm's distance. Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct, and I agree with you 100%. A lot of times in real life, okay, we'll I don't want to allude too much to any specific instance, but we'll say in real life, that's the way it works. The leader is the one responsible for everything the people under them do. And that is true in gaming environments as well. And I'm really quick to say, hey, you can't control other people, but you can only control yourself. That's true. So when you have somebody in your group that's overly toxic, or, that won't let things go, or, is just pushing all this negativity, it falls upon the leadership, if not the other members of the group, to police that, and put a stop to that before it becomes a real issue for the group. And sometimes leaders are held accountable for that. And when they don't act, or maybe something happens so quickly that they don't have an opportunity to react, but somebody's taking the blame, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the leader. So just throwing that out there, man. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Even in a gaming environment, right? It's like we're all here just to play and have fun and all of that. Hopefully that's your goal. And being a leader in a group is like a job. I don't think there's anybody who would really dispute that. It is. It's like having a job, because you've got people that you have to try to keep in line, basically. And you also feel responsible for their good time because you're the leader of the group. They're looking to you, It's another one of those things, by the way, that adds a lot of, gosh, I really do. I don't like using the word micro for everything, but this is actually, it really is appropriate. It's a micro anxiety. It's something really small that you may not notice at the time, but when you add it all up, it becomes a big thing. And the next thing you know, you're losing your mind. Normally I'm a little tighter with my language, but I'm human as well. So bear with me. Sergeant Sammy says he also made the switch to TeamSpeak when he came back to play on Doug. He says it wasn't easy. He feels for me. He said it has its ups and downs. TeamSpeak is great when you are in PvP, but from a roleplay perspective, he's never liked it. And I agree, dude. It's rough. Because that's another thing too. And it's funny. And this is aimed at no one in particular. This happens in every single TeamSpeak I've been in at one point or another, or every group, Discord voice chat that I've been in. Invariably, somebody will say, I know this is going to sound very familiar to somebody. Please don't take it personally. But somebody is going to say, gosh, I really can't stand this thing. It ruins my immersion. I really don't like this thing because it's not in character and it really messes with my immersion. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here trying to play. right? I'm sitting here trying to do things. I'm looking around. I'm trying to listen to other people come sneak up on me. I'm trying to hear how many zombies there are around the corner. You know what I'm saying? I'm immersed in my game, but I'm in TeamSpeak because I want to be accessible. And here is a guy telling me about how immersed he wants to be. And, then we're going to talk about some other game for 30 minutes. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm socializing with people. That's the thing. I find it amusing. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. Because people in their immersion, man, we all have a different view on what's immersive and what's not. And it's really amusing when you look at it all objectively and you listen to what people are saying. Because I'm sure people could pick apart the things I say and make fun of me all day for it too. I mean, it's, and I'll take that in stride. And thank you, Urbo. I do appreciate it, man. Yeah. And thank you to everybody. I mean, look, man, these things happen. We get ill or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to hide it, by the way. I didn't want to pretend like nothing was going on because it was affecting me. It absolutely was affecting me. If I get KOS'd and I'm like, you know what, I'm writing a perma story. Screw this. I mean, I think everybody pretty well knows that is not the way I intend for my character to go out. I could have other characters go out that way. Alessandro is not going to go out that way. But when I start thinking that way, then I have to know that there's something wrong and that it's time to take a break and reevaluate what the hell am I doing. And that's what I did. And again, why I wanted to talk about all this, put it out there, because I know I'm not the only person. Again, I wonder if it's gone up at all. But I mentioned this earlier. Yep, there it is. Dr. Desync's request to talk about this at the community meeting, burnout and frustration and all that, man, is a whopping 51 thumbs up right now. This is a real issue. It's a real issue. And again, even after this, man, if anybody, is really feeling frustrated and really it's getting to them, you are welcome to DM me. It will always stay between you and I will do my best to listen to whatever it is that's bothering you. Because we're all in this together, guys. I mean, this is what being a community is. When we talk about how we have a great community, this is it. This is a part of it. It's being there for each other, when we can. So I'm all for that. Sammy wanted to also point out that with Discord and TeamSpeak, he says he's met some really cool people on TeamSpeak. You really get to know people OOC, which is positive for communications. And again, I agree with that as well. It's funny, when I can comment on that as well. When I first started playing here, I didn't really know anybody. And the only indication I had of what people might be like was either their communication in Discord or what you read about different groups on the website and whatnot. And for in character, there were certain things that intimidated. Damn has a great image on the website. Even the carnival was really freaking me out, reading about them. Right. And, I have to keep in mind that, and I didn't realize this at first. I mean, these are things that you learn. Even the admins, might seem unapproachable, when you first come in, especially if you're watching a lot of conflict and then the only interactions you really see with them are them having to come down on people. And you might think, well, gee, man, these guys are like, unapproachable and really strict and all that. They're actually not. Like most of these guys, I mean, I hold conversations with them here and there, and it's all good. I mean, it's like because they're real people. We're all real people, and so it's like I would try to encourage you to not let also perceptions or opinions about what's the word, image. Don't allow other people's image to shy you away from talking to them as well. Most people, especially antagonist groups, and now I know that is a matter of perspective as well, who the antagonist is. You guys know what I'm talking about. The evil groups, even those people will talk to you. If, you have a problem, send them a DM, be like, but be respectful. Don't be like, hey, why'd you do this? You suck. Be like, hey, man, this happened and it really kind of sucked. You could even just approach it that way. It's just the way you do it. Don't come at somebody, but talk with somebody. That's something that blows people away sometimes, because people will be like, oh, I'll talk to you later. This is the only time I'm really talking to people. And even then, I'm not talking to you because I'm going back and taking your comments, and interacting with you. But it's, man, the words we use are so important. I just really can't stress this enough. But I'm not going to talk to you later. I'm going to talk with you later. That's what I say. I say, talk with you later. It's a minor thing. It's a very small thing, okay? But to me, it's important because it makes the difference. It's like, I'm here to present myself to you, and that's all there is to it. No, that's not communication. It's dictation, maybe, but it's not communication. So that's why you guys might see me harp on terminology and lexicons and whatnot. It's the meanings of words are so important. If we don't have the same meanings for our words, then we are not communicating effectively. Like, period. That's the crux of communication. Now, maybe if we were a body language society and that's all we didn't talk, yes, but that's still another form of communication. If I interpret, a wink differently, I could wink at you, and that could mean that, oh, I'm just kidding. It could mean like, oh, it's okay. It could mean like, hey, hey, let's, hey, it could mean any number of things, like the word dude. It could mean, depending on how you say it, it could mean like 15 different things. But you won't know if you can't hear the connotation. If I just type dude, you may not know what I mean by that, because you're not getting any of the extra stuff with it. And there are so many different definitions of it. And that's why I kind of feel like we need to discuss it. I hope that was my suggestion for the community meeting. It's not something I really want to get into today, but I hope it's something that we could take a little more seriously, because, man, there are so many different definitions for like meta. It drives me nuts. And they're legitimate definitions, but we use them interchangeably and sometimes, and it's like role play. And again, with like the organic role play, again, we have the base definition of it, which is very well written, in my opinion. I know exactly what it means when I read that definition, but people apply it differently to themselves, which they should. That's the point of it being organic, is we can make it our own. But when we're trying to converse about something, and we're not using the same terminology. Here's an excellent, all right, I got it. Here's the perfect example. Vanilla DayZ. Okay, here's the thing. Apparently, this means something completely different to people, and I had no idea, okay? To me, when something's vanilla, okay, what that means is that it's very base. It's unaltered, unchanged. Personally, people find vanilla boring. I love vanilla. Maybe I'm boring. I don't know. I think vanilla tastes good. I definitely like it with hot fudge on it, but that's a completely different thing. Vanilla DayZ, okay, to me, is if I went and logged in to an official server, that is vanilla DayZ, period. Because any community server, any change from that, it's no longer vanilla. It's vanilla with sprinkles, or vanilla with, you get it with gumdrops, whatever. It's something slightly different, okay? DayZ Underground, to me, is a completely different animal than vanilla DayZ under that definition, okay? Under my definition, it's completely different. Because my experience on the official servers sucked. Like, I hated this game. I didn't want to have anything to do with this game. Coming to Doug, however, was a completely different experience for me than my official server experience. So when I say that this is it. When I say vanilla DayZ, I don't like vanilla DayZ players. I don't, okay? I prefer to not play with them. That's why I'm here, because so I don't have to play with them all the time. Some people have taken offense by my saying that, and I apologize, because that is not how I intended it. I'm talking about the people that just log into a server, have no skin in the game, don't give a damn about what it is you're trying to do. They're just here to play DayZ. They just want to pick up a gun and go find someone to shoot. Okay, we have lots of people like that on our non-whitelisted days. I mean, that's, to me, is the difference, is supposed to be the difference between playing on whitelisted days and not whitelisted. It's not a matter of, oh, great, I got to play with the same, 60 people I normally play with. Oh, darn, which is what it feels like people act like. But no, it's because I need a break sometimes from just the random crap that we deal with, which we embrace, because without that, we wouldn't have the DayZ experience that we prefer, right? But sometimes I just like to have a break from it. Anyway, the whole point is that to me, vanilla DayZ means something different than it means to other people. And that's a problem, because then, if I say vanilla DayZ players suck, okay, and that's just an opinion, not all of them do, all right, but you're following me here. People are going to be offended by that. And I don't want to communicate that way because it's not productive. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't, just random players? No, random, because there are plenty of random. I was a random player at one point. You know what I mean? There be new players. I was a new player at one point. It's just meant to describe a style of play or just the very basic experience that you would get just playing DayZ. And so, unfortunately, I don't have a good answer to that either. So, vanilla just makes me hungry for real, dude. I'm telling you, dude, I love the smell of vanilla. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's very pleasing and calming to me, I guess. But anyway, so the point is that this is why I feel like it would be nice if we could come together as a community and determine exactly what we want these words to mean for us in Doug. Because I don't care. I've seen people say, oh, I can't wait. Or like, no, excuse me. Let me bring it in. People say, oh, I came here to Doug because it's the closest thing to vanilla that I can get without being vanilla. You know what I mean? And I just don't see it that way at all. Like, my experiences are completely different. So there's a communication breakdown there if we try to use these terms and we look at the definition differently. I feel like it's very important that we do. Now, whether or not we do or anybody agrees, is completely up to you guys. I don't know everything, But hopefully it's something that will kind of come to a greater understanding of. And I also want to mention one more thing, because I mentioned that even the admins don't agree all the time on things. That's a fact. I'm sorry, but we're all human. The admins are humans too. They internally debate things and then disseminate that to us. But I wouldn't think that they're all on the same page all the time and are in total agreement. And that's why it's weird when I talk to people and I hear people say, oh, well, this admin looks at it this way and that admin looks at it that way. It's like, well, because we're all different people. But it's not a slight on the admin team at all. I don't think anybody would question that. I have a lot of respect for our admin team. And, I mean, that's just the way it is. It's a hard job. I wouldn't say never anymore. I might be willing to do it one day, but I don't know that I would be a good fit for it. I really don't. But I just wanted to mention that. It was not a slight in any way whatsoever about the admins. They do have differences of opinions, and sometimes we find out about those differences. And so they exist, And so it was in no way to undermine the team, just saying even the admins have problems sometimes agreeing, with like the same terms and whatnot. So it'd be nice as a community, we came together and really nailed this thing down. Then we could post it on the website. Then when people go, it means this, we can be like, no, here it is. And that's just what it is here. So anyway, I don't know. But I feel like it's related because it does have to do with us getting along and communicating effectively with each other. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm not sure how to address it without being too specific. So, and I've already talked to the person about it, and the person is okay with me bringing it up, all right? But there's a level of toxicity that we exhibit in this community that is also subtle. Now I want to express to you, like, I am not name calling anybody. All right, I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to say that I try not to throw. I have done it, but I try not to throw these edgy words around. Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for that. So I try not to throw edgy words around. I like words to have very specific definitions, and I feel like people will use a term and throw it around like a blanket description. And I'm just going to use the word I'm going to use because I'm not going to use any of the examples I could use. But let's say, well, for instance, if somebody's going to disagree with me, I'm not going to call them a Nazi. I'm just not going to do it. Somebody's trying to impose their will. I'm not necessarily going to call them fascist just because they are doing something I don't agree with. Everybody has their own motivations for the things that they do, and say, I don't feel like most people are inherently trying to control or ruin other people. I think that people are so focused on themselves or their points of view that they don't often consider other people as often as they should. Okay? But the word that I'm going to get to right now, and I hope you guys will understand this, is bully. Okay? There are a lot of ways that we bully each other. Unintentionally, I'll even say. A bully isn't just somebody who walks over and takes your lunch money and shoves you down and is just mean to you. Okay? There are, and this is a reality, okay? There are many subtle ways that we bully each other as well. And we may not even intend to. I did it just last Saturday. Completely unintentional. Okay? And what it was when I did it, okay, it was somebody from the 506. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. And I actually should go back and just directly apologize to this person. But they said, we're just sitting around waiting for a wipe anyway. Okay, so now here's the thing. To me, that blew my mind. And it was unintentional what I said. Because what I said was rude. It was flat out rude, and I did not mean for it to be. But what did I say? I said something like, I expressed this. I was like, dude, it is shocking to me. Like, it makes me wonder, like maybe you should try, are you here for the right reasons? I came across that way. All right. It was a little bullyish, it was definitely rude. Because what I did was I took a comment that somebody said and I threw it back in their face and then questioned their existence. I mean, that's freaking rude. Okay. And so I apologize. It's certainly, and it was funny because it was shortly after I said it that it hit me what I did. Okay. And man, I'm very sorry. Like, cause that's not how I like to conduct myself at all. And, but I was shocked. I was like, gosh, why would anybody do that? And I do feel that way, but you're entitled to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have no authority, no right whatsoever to diminish the way that you feel. That's a legitimate thing that you feel. Whatever it is in this game that you like is not there right now. And you're just waiting for it to all start over. Man, I'm sorry. Okay. And we do this to each other unintentionally a lot of times. I'm going to mention the circumstance because it's a very specific thing that happens. And it's not the first time I've seen it. But there are times when, like, we're playing our game and our character dies. And then somebody else might feel like, well, gee, man, that was a big, passionate scene. You should probably perma. You should just kill off your character, man. In fact, if you don't, I'm going to be really disappointed in you. In fact, I really think, I don't think that it makes any sense for you not to, and when we say these things, okay, we're actually trying to impose our will or our opinion on somebody else. And that is the very definition of bullying, in my opinion. It's we're trying to coerce somebody either physically or emotionally or mentally to do something that we want them to do. Whether or not they're comfortable with it. And that makes it even worse when they're not comfortable with it. And you might not say these things with that intention. You might not be thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna peer pressure this person into doing what I want. You're just doing what I did. I was just expressing an opinion. But the way I went about it and the timing that I delivered it made it a really nasty thing for me to say. And this happens more often than people may realize or may want to admit. And again, I am not calling anybody a bully. I'm not trying to say that that's deliberate. I might think that sometimes, but I, don't believe that. I'd rather give people the benefit of the doubt. And especially in regards to permanently killing your character, let me assure you that unless I just rage quit like I almost did a few weeks ago, there is not a single thing that any of you is going to do to coerce me into killing off my character unless I just quit the game. It's just never going to happen. I have an idea. I have a story, an overall story. Like, this is, again, the organic roleplay difference. I have an overall story in mind for my character. Something amazing could happen that will floor me as a player. And I might go, you know what? It's not going to get any better than this. And then that's, I'll do it then. But it's going to still be my decision. you know, and there's no amount of anything that you think I should do that's going to change that. And I'm just saying that now. Nobody has ever come to me at this. And in fact, the premise of my character allows my character to die and come back and embrace all of that as part of his story. So I've got plenty of outs. And by the way, if anybody needs that or feels like they need to, man, just come on over and start learning about the Lord, you know, because we all in purgatory together. So, you know, the Lord will bring you back too, man. You know, it's like whatever, however you want to look at it, man. We're here to have fun, you know? Sometimes that fun coincides with the things that other people want or expect, and sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? It's not up to you to decide how I'm going to enjoy myself. That is, and I've got to remind myself of that constantly. That is what makes Doug so special, in that, and that's what organic roleplay really is. That's really what it is. It's playing the game a way that you want. In the gaming workshop is a way for us to try to talk about all that so that we can play the game the way we want and do it together and minimize the conflict, because there is always conflict with these different play styles and these different things that we want to do. And there is room for all of us here. You know, the people who came before me and became before most of us went to great lengths to make sure that there was a place for all of us here. So, again, no real solutions, except for perhaps to think about the things that we say before we say them. You know, maybe think about, you know, is this going to come off as rude, or am I pressuring somebody into something? And at the same time, and this actually happened in the latest incident that I've heard about this, where the person ended up talking with the other people and they worked everything out. And that is, again, why it is so important that we have the out of character communication, that people be willing to be bold enough to contact and approach the people that they're having a problem with. And I'm willing to bet more often than not, you're going to come up with a peaceful solution, or a way to coexist, a way to, you know, to continue to enjoy knowing and playing with each other, and not letting all this crap, this out of character stuff blend in with the in character, because that is the real tragedy when it, well, I mean, not even, because losing a real friendship over an in character action is also a significant tragedy, of conflict playing and whatnot. But I just really, it really hurts me to my core to hear that people feel pressured into acting a certain way, or, you know, I could say that I feel pressured into not being a solo character, but that's not the case at all. I'm just giving up on it because it's too hard for me to maintain all the time, you know? So yeah, I feel pressured into joining a group, but not by people. I feel pressured by the circumstances and by my real life circumstances and by all of that. It's a completely different thing. So, I definitely wanted to make sure that I mentioned that, because, you know, fuck, man, we're all here to have fun. I'm not going to tell you how you have to play. Just have the same courtesy for me and other people. Sorry. It's been weeks, man. I'm just like, going. But I actually feel pretty good. I was a little worried that I was going to get through this too quick in the first hour, but no, man, you guys have been helping hold this together pretty well. Let's see. Yeah, ammo. Yeah, he screws up all the time, even when he doesn't mean to. He thinks, I think I write and speak the proper stuff, and it turns out it's open to interpretation. Yes, indeed it is. And I mean, it comes with the territory of, again, if you feel, I'm a very strong believer of this in real life, and I know a lot of people are comfortable because they just feel bad, or they want to feel bad. There's many psychological reasons for it. But a lot of people are comfortable with their misery. You know what I mean? Like, they are so used to life being a certain way that it just becomes comfortable. And then even if things get better, sometimes it's uncomfortable, and we unconsciously do things or subconsciously do things to sabotage ourselves, to bring us back down to that level where we were comfortable. And I believe personally that most people who are offended by things are choosing to be offended by it, because we have the choice to care or not care. And we feel like it's involuntary, But the more I exercise it, the more I practice it, the more I realize, really in life, people are sitting around waiting for something to make them happy. I mean, what? It's not up to other people to make you happy. You know what I'm saying? That's you. That's your emotion. You have to find a way to be happy with yourself. Nobody can do that for you. Nobody. People can, break you down, but guess what? You're choosing to listen to what they're saying. You're choosing to accept the negative things that they're saying and allowing it to affect you. And I mean, gosh, man, I would tell you right now, I think if there was anything in this whole world I could convince people of that would make me feel accomplished in this life, is that you're the master of your own happiness. Damn it. Stop sitting around waiting for other people to make you happy, or stop blaming everybody else for your feeling like crap about yourself, because you are in complete control of it, whether you feel it or not. I'm telling you, you are. It's completely up to you. Now, of course, there are people with mental issues and things like that. Okay, for most of us, it's up to us how we feel. Let me get off the soapbox on that one a little bit. I mean, that was a little preachy. I don't normally get so preachy, but there's some things, like I said, some things I get passionate about, and man, I spent most of my life trying to get other people, expecting other people to make me happy, or like, oh, well, if I only found this person, boy, I'd be happy, or if only I had this thing, I'd be happy, and I've come to find out that none of that is lasting. None of it. That's why money can't buy you love, and all that kind of stuff. It can buy you a good time, but it ain't gonna buy you love. Not lasting love, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, Shig Diggity, what's up, man? As a newcomer to the community, I would like to say that everyone that I have encountered in-game has done an excellent job of roleplay. It has been a great experience so far. Hats off to everyone. Man, we are super happy to have you. And not just because you're happy and enjoying yourself, but, I mean, I love to hear that, dude. That's the kind of thing that just really recharges my batteries, so to speak. A lot of people say, oh, man, you do a lot of great things. It has nothing to do with me. I would not be doing any of this if it wasn't for all of you. And that's just 100% fact. No chance would I do this stuff. Any of it, if it wasn't for you guys being so awesome. Flat out. Thank you, man. I just want people to feel better, man. I want people to be happy and enjoy life, man. It's like, we say it a lot. My wife says it, and I actually heard someone else say it too. It's like, man, if only we could just be decent to each other, everything would be so much better. And that's really what it comes down to. If we could all just be decent to each other, man, we wouldn't need like rules and laws so much. We wouldn't need to feel bad about ourselves or other people. I mean, come on, man. It is what it is. Well, guys, here it is, 4:00. We can wind it down. If anybody else has anything else that they want to add, man, we'll talk about it. You could even hop in a chat and I can go over for a little bit. I cannot say for certain if we're going to have another gaming workshop next week. I did pretty well today. I feel pretty good for talking constantly for 2 hours. Not too bad. So I'll probably fill up to it again next week. We'll just have to see. And then again, I'm going to have to take I'm just assuming that the surgery is going to go through, and I'm going to have an extended break again, but I will keep you guys informed. And again, if things become overwhelming, I'll certainly be willing to express that, because again, I'm not going to end up in a situation that I was in a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to allow that to happen again, because it's just not, it's not fun. It's not fun to feel like crap about the game you're playing and not wanting to play and letting it affect your real life and all that kind of stuff. Boy, everything's like falling apart on me here. All right, there we go. And, I might actually get my, you guys, you can't see my mouse cursor, but yeah, my, latest followers and subscribers, I'll get all that set up again. Like I said, I wasn't really planning on doing any of this until after July. So, I threw all this together yesterday. Not too bad, I think. I'm getting pretty used to adjusting the streaming things, but, oh, thank you. Thank you for the follow, man. I do actually do entertainment streams as well. This is just the one thing I want to make sure that the gaming workshop is the one thing I want to make sure that I continuously do as often as possible, because I do feel like it helps a lot of people. People really enjoy it, and so you know, it's an out of character way for me to give back to the community a little bit. Again, it doesn't normally it's a lot less about me, even though, I mean, I'm the host of the show and I have opinions, but, you know, normally have guests. For anybody who's not familiar with it, normally have guests, and I always pay attention to chat. We talk, we discourse, you know, that have discourse and all that. We leave the Discord behind. Unless you join it in order to talk to me, but whatever. Maybe we'll work something out. I can use the TeamSpeak. We'll just, yeah, I don't know. That way we'll have options anyway. But thank you guys. I really, really appreciate the continued support. Man, look, the well wishes, I mean, really, really hit me in the soft spot, dude. I'm not even kidding. It means a lot. And especially to people who are going through problems, who, you know, aren't vocalizing it. For people to pick up on it and still show support and love, I mean, it can affect people in ways that you may never know. And even then, it may not even be that person. It might be someone else who's watching, who's affected by that. And it's like, man, you know, maybe if that guy's going through this, maybe it's not so bad for me after all. Look at all the support he's getting. You know, maybe people would care about me too. It just goes around, man. This is why, you know, we should be nice to each other and, you know, supportive of each other, even if we disagree. Even people that I don't agree with, I still like to be supportive of, because I would rather have people speak out than not. And that's real life and in gaming all the way around. But anyway, guys, all right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming. And again, for your continued support. I'm going to actually try to do this very smoothly without without having to narrate the entire damn thing. How about that? All right, y'all. Oh, no. Yeah, I did it again. Yeah, see, when I don't have things set up, man, it's all muted and all this stuff. I don't know who we're going to go to. I'm going to end up rating somebody here in a minute. It'll take me a minute to figure it out. But anyway, right now, guys, be cool with each other, man. Have fun out there. And I'll see you sometime. Don't mind the schedule. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping up with it, but later, everybody.